So just wanted to do a quick video today doing a little bit of testing on new software update 2020.40.4. I did not expect to see anything really interesting as far as Autopilot is concerned, but there were some indications that there were speed assist improvements. So it was supposed to pick up some speed limit signs on interstate and that sort of thing. And what we did find out is that it actually did pick up a speed limit sign that I did not expect it to before. So it's actually the speed limit sign that's for the express lane in the middle of the interstate rather than the lane that I was actually in. So ironically, it was better at picking up a sign, but the sign was not actually relevant for the lane that we were in. So that is a little bit interesting improvement, I guess you could call it, or really in this case, unfortunately, it actually caused it to fail worse than it would have previously when it did not pick up that sign. But nevertheless, it did pick up a sign that it did not pick up before. I did notice a very unfortunate situation where it slammed on the brakes coming onto the interstate when it should not have. The traffic lights for going onto the interstate there were inactive because there was not a lot of traffic. So it should not have responded to those traffic lights at all because they were not on, but it did kind of slam on the brakes pretty violently, I thought. I immediately hit the accelerator and went through it, but that was unfortunate. It definitely failed in a major way there, slowing down when it really should not have at all. So that was unfortunate. We did find out that it still is incapable of going through roundabouts. Not a surprise. It's not supposed to be able to. It still recognizes the fact that it is a roundabout, and it slows down for the roundabout to approach it. And then once you get to the roundabout, you are on your own. You have to decide when you're going to actually go through the roundabout, and you have to take control. It will give you the nice flashing red steering wheel and hands saying you got to take control. So that is definitely something that they can improve on there, as well as we did see a couple instances of the car dipping into lanes that it should not have. So on the regular road, when you have it on autopilot and auto steer, it should maintain your lane, obviously. It still has a problem with some side streets where if there's a turn lane coming up, even though it has a dotted line and it's obvious, at least to me, it's obvious that it's a turn lane, and it should be obvious that to autopilot that it's a turn lane, it still sometimes will dip into those lanes. And so it doesn't go all the way into that lane, so it doesn't like veer off the road into that turn lane, which is good. But at the same time, it does kind of abruptly turn and probably move over 4 feet maybe, as if it's going to go into that lane, and then it goes back. So usually I'm able to leave it in autopilot in those scenarios and not actually kick it out of autopilot by jerking the steering wheel, because I expect it to happen often. So I'm usually pretty ready for it to happen. I know usually where it's going to happen, so something I'm paying attention to, and I'm able to correct it without it, like I said, kicking out of autopilot. But that is definitely something autopilot needs to be improved upon. It really should not see those lanes as an expansion of the lane that you're currently in. I don't know why it does that. And that's the same thing it does on the interstate. The interstate will do the same thing. It will look for that lane and dip into it sometimes when there's an on-ramp. So an on-ramp coming into the interstate, there's not dotted lines a lot around us, so that's kind of part of an excuse for why it doesn't see that there's actually an oncoming lane that it should not expand into. But nevertheless, I'm able to see it pretty fine, so I don't know why it would fail in those cases. So definitely some room for improvement there. But overall, just wanted to do a quick test of Autopilot on software version 2020.40.4. Still looking forward to the Autopilot rewrite that should be coming out soon. I know next week they're going to have a private beta released to probably very few people. I'm guessing that it's basically employees and that sort of thing. And then hopefully a few weeks after that, we will have a wide public beta or wider release public beta, something like that. I'm really hoping that I will be in that early access group there that can have the public beta for the Autopilot rewrite, and hoping that that will add the ability to turn through intersections and as well as go through green lights and that sort of thing. I highly doubt it's going to do anything for the neighborhood side streets that don't have lane markings. So right now it's not going to be able to go through my neighborhood. I don't see how it would. And even if it did try to keep in the lane in the neighborhood, we have so many people that park on the streets. I highly doubt it's going to do anything about that. So likely, even if they do release the ability to actually stay in your lane when there is no lane marking, it's probably going to just stop behind parked cars. So that's going to be pretty annoying. So definitely not expecting that to come out, but I would like to see, if nothing else, some right turns through intersections would be awesome. That would be a big improvement. Left turns, I could see that not coming so soon, but left turns through an intersection when there's a green light or green arrow would definitely be manageable, I would think. And in fact, it can almost do that at this time. I tried it out one time today. It's not able to go completely through the intersection, but it gets really close, and that's without any ability or any claim that it should be able to do that. So overall, some great improvements to Autopilot, over, just as far as how well it does the things that it's supposed to do. It just seems a lot more rock solid as far as what it displays on the screen. It also is very good about keeping the lanes most of the time, aside from those few points that I mentioned before. And the fact that it does look at speed limits around our area most of the time, that definitely helps it stay in Autopilot when it should, and makes you be able to use Autopilot a lot more frequently. So overall, awesome updates. Can't wait for a full self-driving rewrite. So that is going to be exciting to see what comes out of that. As always, thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.